So here's a wild thought for you. What if I told you that one of the most mind-bending ideas in modern physics, something straight from Einstein, was actually hinted at in a way in a religious text that's over 1,400 years old? Welcome to The Explainer, where we're going to connect some pretty incredible dots. Now, I know it might sound like a bit of a stretch, but today we're diving into this really fascinating overlap between 20th century physics and, believe it or not, Islamic theology. We're going to see if some of the universe's biggest secrets might have been hiding in plain sight all along. Okay, let's get into it. So here's the game plan. We're going to start with Einstein and his absolutely revolutionary ideas about time. Then we'll jump back 14 centuries to look at some verses in the Quran that are, well, surprisingly similar. After that, we'll introduce this incredible interpretive key that connects them, apply it to a famous celestial journey, and then wrap up by talking about what this all means for us today. All right, first up, we have to get our heads around how Albert Einstein completely blew up our old ideas about time. He didn't just tweak them, he totally rewrote the rules of the universe. You see, for hundreds of years, everyone just followed Isaac Newton's lead. Time was simple, right? It was this universal clock ticking away at the same pace for everyone, everywhere. It just made sense. But then Einstein came along and showed us a reality that is so much weirder and, honestly, way more interesting. Let me put it this way. If you think of time as a river, Newton imagined it was this perfect, straight canal. It just flowed at the exact same speed for everybody, no exceptions. But Einstein, he saw it as this huge, winding river with fast currents, slow spots, and even whirlpools. Your experience of time could literally speed up or slow down depending on how fast you're moving and where you are. And listen, this isn't just some sci-fi theory. It is a real, measurable thing you probably use every single day. For example, the GPS satellites orbiting way up above us, their clocks actually run a tiny bit faster than ours down here on Earth. They have to constantly correct for Einstein's relativity, or your GPS would be off by miles in just one day. It's wild. Okay, so keep that idea of flexible, stretchy time in your head, because now we're going to jump in a time machine and go back 1,400 years. Long before Einstein was even a glimmer in the universe's eye, to a place where this very idea was already being discussed, the Quran. Now, you might read that and think it's just poetry, a metaphor, but it's pointing to something so much deeper. It's a really profound statement about the very nature of time, saying that how we experience it here isn't the only way it works. So, whether you take the numbers literally or symbolically, the core message is just undeniable. It's telling us that time is not some universal constant. It's relative. It can be experienced in completely different ways, all depending on your frame of reference. And it doesn't stop there. Get this. This next verse takes that idea of relative time and cranks it up to a whole new level. What's so amazing here is that it suggests that even in the spiritual or celestial realms, time isn't fixed. The amount it stretches can actually change depending on the situation. So what we're seeing in the Quran is frankly a surprisingly modern-sounding idea of time, that it's flexible and not uniform at all. But that begs the question, right? How did scholars 1,000 years ago make sense of this, and what can their insights teach us? All right, so we've got these two very different worlds, 20th century physics and 1,400-year-old scripture, and they both seem to be pointing to the same incredible idea. Time is not what we think it is. So how do we build a bridge between them? Well, the answer might be in this fascinating concept called Bast-ı Zaman. It's kind of like a zip file on your computer. You have this small file, but when you unzip it, it expands into something massive. Bast-ı Zaman, a term used by the 20th century scholar Said Nursi, is basically that same idea, but for time. A tiny moment of time can be unzipped to contain a huge amount of events, experiences, and information. And according to Nursi, this isn't some rare, abstract thing. He saw evidence of it all over the place. He pointed to things like the Quran's Night of Qadr, stories of saints performing miracles, and even something we all experience, dreams. You know how you can have a dream that feels like it lasts for days, but you've only been asleep for a few minutes? That, he said, is a small taste of Bast-ı Zaman. Okay, so now for the ultimate test case. Let's take this theory of time expansion and apply it to one of the most miraculous and debated events in all of Islamic tradition, the Prophet Muhammad's night journey and ascension, also known as the Miraj. I mean, for centuries, this event has been a source of incredible inspiration, but also a real puzzle.
How could a person travel through the heavens, meet past prophets, see the divine, and return, all in a part of one night? Is it a metaphor, a miracle that breaks all the rules, or is there another way to understand it?
This is where Nursi's idea of Bast-ı Zaman really just clicks into place. He suggested that the prophet's journey wasn't about breaking our physical laws. Instead, he entered a totally different reality, a realm of permanence where our rules of time and space simply don't apply. And in that realm, a single moment could expand to hold an eternity of experience. His body was simply following his soul, which isn't limited by speed or distance. Okay, so that's a pretty mind-blowing way to look at a specific event. But let's zoom out for a second. What's the bigger picture here? Why does building this bridge between faith and physics even matter? Well, the takeaways are actually pretty huge. This whole perspective suggests that what we call miracles might not be violations of natural law, but maybe they're just operations under a different, higher set of laws we don't understand yet. It suggests that science and faith don't have to be enemies. They can actually be two different languages trying to describe the same incredible reality. And it gives us a new way to see our own place in the universe, where our short lives can still have incredible significance. So the next time you look up at the stars, just remember, you're not just looking at a clockwork universe. You're looking into a place that is deeply mysterious, a place where time can stretch and bend in ways we can barely imagine. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If time isn't what we thought it was, what else is out there just waiting for us to discover? Thanks for watching.